We've been taking things pretty easy after selling our last home here in Florida. We've been living in the RV for the last couple of months, and it's been nice to kind of just relax and kick back and take a break from house hunting, land hunting. But we finally did find and started the purchase process on what we consider to be our perfect piece of land. Now, this video is to document the process and our own personal journey. Now, there are some major topics and considerations that I will be going over in this video. Hopefully the topics help you if you ever plan on or are interested in purchasing land here in Florida. Now, the process of purchasing land is very different from the process of buying a home that's already built or going to a builder to have them construct a home for you. The legwork that goes into it is a little bit different. It can get very tedious, and I thought I knew everything there is to know about real estate. I've been living out here for the past 33 years. I did acquire my real estate license out here a few years ago, and honestly, none of that even mattered when it came to going through the process of getting our land. I felt like I had to basically learn everything from scratch, and there are 4 major topics that I will go over, things that we had to consider and research while we were going through it. The first topic is all things zoning. So first thing that we had to ask ourselves is, okay, what exactly do we want to do on this land? What type of home do we want to build on there eventually? Do we want farm animals? What kind of farm animals? Now, if you know exactly what you want, let's say that you want farm animals outside of hens or chickens. Now, the reason why I say outside of chickens is because certain counties out here do allow you to have hens on your property as long as it doesn't exceed a certain number of hens. And of course, as long as there are no roosters on the property. That's completely different. You'll have to go to an agriculturally zoned area for that, or a rural residential area. But if you are interested in raising farm animals, you'll have to first make sure that you are in a zone that allows for those types of animals, and also you'll have to make sure that you have enough acres to house specific animals, because there are a lot of rules out here that require you to have a certain number of acres before they'll allow a horse or a cow or multiple farm animals on the property. So again, depending on the house you're trying to build or what you actually want to do on the land, you'll have to check what zone it's in and then get with building and zoning to check what their rules and regulations are. Most counties have this information available on their websites, but if not, just give them a call or go there in person and they should be able to help you out. And I will say that even if zoning allows for something, let's say that they allow for a certain type of home to be built on there, maybe you're looking to place a manufactured home on the property or build a modular home, for instance, or a tiny home, you'll still have to find out if there are any deed restrictions in that area. So what you'll want to do is get with the clerk's official records department and see if there are any deed restrictions. If there are, make sure you read them over and you know exactly what you're getting into before you purchase that property. Another point on the zoning topic would be what flood zone that property is in. So the best source to go to would be FEMA. You would want to go on their website, and they actually have a flood zone map where you can put the address in and it'll tell you what flood zone that property is in. Now, from my understanding, flood zone X and C are nice and high and dry, and that's definitely something that you want to look for, especially if you're going to have farm animals. It would be in their best interest and health-wise to place them in an area that is not wetland or marshy. They do definitely need dry land to live nice and healthy, but also for your own budget, if you purchase land in a wetland, for instance, or a flood zone area, there are more things that you'll have to consider. Now, the state of Florida does protect a lot of wetlands out here, and you may not be able to build on that part of the land or a portion of your land because it is protected by the state of Florida. Now, even if it is protected by the state, you may be able to get around it and still build on it, but you do have to come out of pocket. You have to purchase certain credits and it gets a little complicated. Also, you will need a separate flood insurance policy, and that can get very pricey. So just keep those things into consideration when you are looking at the actual flood zone that you're looking to purchase in. Topic number 2 is all about utilities. So you'll definitely want to find out where the nearest electrical pole or connection is, because if it's miles away, that will be a significant cost up front for you to actually get electricity on your property, unless you're planning on going completely solar. That's another upfront cost. But also, in addition to electricity, you'll want to find out if there is public water and sewer, or if you have to install your own septic system and have a company drill a well on the property. So you'll definitely need to know all of that prior to choosing the property that you will be calling home. Now here's a side note for those looking to go off-grid or fly under the radar. It sounds like a dream, and honestly it's something that I want to do in the future, but here in Florida it might not be as easy to do as you think, because although we are a very free state, Daddy Government still wants his final say, and the state of Florida requires licensed contractors to have active permits before installing any wells on vacant land or septic systems. Most counties in Florida will not grant a permit for a well or a septic system unless you have an active building permit on a home. So you must be building a primary residence prior to them allowing or granting permits for wells and septic systems to be installed. And let's say that you have an RV or travel trailer and you're planning on purchasing land out here and placing your RV on there to either live there permanently or temporarily. That's not allowed in most counties either. They do allow you to stay on the property in an RV temporarily, but not as a primary residence unless you're in a specific zone in a specific county that allows for RV living. And most of the time it's very densely populated, so it's not like you're, you know, out in the middle of nowhere on your own property connected to utilities with your RV. Although that sounds like a dream, and honestly, again, it's something that I would have loved to do, it's not possible in most counties out here in Florida. So if you are really looking to go off-grid, it really does have to be off-grid. I mean, you would have to have your own rainwater collection system and create your own sewage and composting system, and get yourself some solar panels if you want electricity. And that, at that point, it would be truly off-grid dry camping living, which is also doable and still to me sounds like a dream, but those are things that you'll want to consider. Topic number 3 is all about surveys. So if a survey wasn't already recently done, you'll want to check with the listing agent to see if the sellers have had one done recently. But if not, you'll definitely want to get one done before you close on the property. Depending on how large the property is, it can run you anywhere from $700 to upwards of $1,000, but it is well worth it so that you know the exact details and parameters and area of that property. Quick story, my husband and I a few months ago were going to purchase a property from an investor that purchases land, clears it, places a house on it, and then sells it. Well, there was a survey done on the property. It looks like he has surveys done on all of his properties, and I guess he gave it to the guys that were installing a basic fence around the perimeter of the property. Well, the fence company didn't follow the survey, and so they just installed the fence, and that fence was installed 20 feet inside of the property line. And there are neighbors on the left and the right side that were not very happy about that, because then at that point, who was going to maintain the 20 feet on both sides that weren't fenced? I mean, if we were to have acquired that property, we would have had to figure out a way to go in between the fence lines, which would have been very inconvenient, or come out of pocket to have a company come out and fix the fence. So they would have had to remove the fence on both sides and fix it, place it 20 feet out on both sides, and it would have been a lot of money up front. The seller or investor was not willing to fix it, so it would have been our problem. But thankfully, the survey showed us the size of the property, and we were able to determine at that point that we didn't want to move forward with the deal. The fourth topic is about the title searches. So make sure that you do your own title search, or preferably have a title insurance company do a full lien search, back taxes, and everything else in between. Get a title insurance policy to cover you if anything comes up in the future. That is definitely highly recommended. Now there's a bonus topic that I just thought about, and that is on land clearing. So depending on how densely packed the trees are in the property, you'll want to consider that as an upfront cost as well. We will need to clear some of the trees that are on the property, but thankfully we don't have to clear too much. A lot of the trees are taller pine trees with a few other random trees. I'm not really sure exactly what they are. They don't look like oaks. So we do have to clear a lot of the smaller trees and bushes to kind of open up the area, but not too many of the larger trees. Thankfully, it's not that dense in there. Depending on how much clearing you're getting done and how big the trees are and what you want to do with the trees that are removed, that can run you anywhere from a couple $1,000s to $20,000+. What we're doing is anything that is removed, we are having it mulched back onto the property. So I'm going to be using that, especially in the area where I will be doing the main garden. So I'm going to have everything mulched and placed back on top of the soil so it can start decomposing and creating that really nice soil for the future garden. Hopefully this list was helpful. I'm pretty sure I missed a few things. Topics like these can go into extreme detail, but these were just the four major main topics that I decided to cover in this video, because those are, in my opinion, one of the most important topics to consider when you are thinking of purchasing your own piece of land out here in Florida. Until next time.